Beautiful shot of downtown Los Angeles. We're 13 miles away in Westwood at legendary Pauley Pavilion for a highly anticipated meet. The UCLA Bruins and the Oregon State Beavers, Pac-12 gymnastics here on the Pac-12 Network. And hi everybody, Rich Burke along with reigning NCAA all-around champion Samantha Peshek. Safina De Jesus, 27 million views of her floor exercise from a week ago on Facebook. Who knows why these things tip, but that's been all the buzz around campus.
Safina De Jesus definitely went viral this week, but the great thing about her routine is that it mirrors her personality. She's so fun, so energetic, and not only gets her teammates and the crowd involved, but like you mentioned, 27 million viewers on the internet.
There was no jealousy among her teammates. They gave her all the credit for that routine she did last week. UCLA coming off a great 197-1 score against Utah a week ago, but they're going to be hamstrung at least early on in the bars routine. Hallie Mozette, who was scheduled to go on bars, had a fall in practice just about an hour ago.
It was extremely uncharacteristic. I've never seen her do this before. Slips her hands on the low bar during her pack salto release move from high to low. She looks to be in a lot of pain, and I'd say it's pretty unlikely that she's going to compete here tonight.
UCLA going to be taking on the Oregon State Beavers, and they know all about injuries. They have a couple of them out for the entire season. It's the Bruins. It's the Oregon State Beavers. Pac-12 gymnastics from here at Pauley Pavilion in Westwood right after this.
Strong.
Our house.
Spirit. Courage. Faith.
Get it.
Poise.
Perform.
Momentum. Determination. Hungry. Strong. Hungry. Purpose. Purpose. Passion. Focus. Excitement. Boom. Energy. Our bubble. Brave. Passion. Fierce. Confident.
Home.
Fight.
Showtime.
You saw the candle in the middle. They jokingly refer to that as the seance, and that's Valerie Condos Field, her 26th year as UCLA Bruins head coach, 12 conference championships, 6 NCAA titles, the last of which came in 2010. Last week, she was named the Pac-12 Gymnastics Coach of the Century. Number 7 UCLA Bruins taking on the number 16 Oregon State Beavers. Tanya Chaplin in her 18th year, conference titles in 2011 and 2013. The two-time Pac-10 Gymnast of the Year, and she did that at UCLA 1987 and 1989. This is a return home for her. The home team goes in Olympic order: vault, bars, beam, and floor. And Danusha Francis, a senior, has never competed as a collegian on vault, but she is tonight. For the first time ever, she's scheduled to do the all-around.
I am so excited to watch her do all around. She is so great on the other 3 events, and this is just going to add to her repertoire here as a UCLA gymnast.
The senior from Kenilworth, England.
She's going to be doing a Yurchenko full. Very nice landing for her very first competitive vault as a UCLA Bruin. That's awesome, and her teammates are just as excited as she is.
That is a big moment for Danusha Francis. How about that? And believe it or not, that is her 50th routine in a row that she has hit. And 46 of the previous 49, 9-8 or above. There's the Oregon State Beavers bars line up, and the freshman Mariani Kalusi-Palayath will start it off. Career and season high 9.85 at home against Arizona State in her first career win in any apparatus 2 weeks ago.
Bars typically being Oregon State's strongest event. Mariana has extremely clean lines, working on getting those past handstands all the way to vertical.
Winding up her dismount.
Nice double layout. Few steps, small steps on the dismount, but I think that's the only major deduction in her routine. Very strong leadoff performance for Oregon State.
Mariana Kalusi-Palayath will see her sister Sylvia later on in the bars lineup. And now Sonia Mirage of the UCLA Bruins. After the 9.775, for Danusha Francis. Sonia, one of just 2 Bruins to compete in the all-around last year. She did it 3 times.
Very good. Yurchenko full. She was warming up at Yurchenko 1.5, which does start from a 10-0. This is a 9.95. Remember, the start value changed this season. But again, great landing and 2 strong vaults for the UCLA Bruins.
Sonia Miraz elects to go without that extra half twist that would lead to the blind landing. And she goes with the Yurchenko full.
A lot of these girls are working on harder vaults to have a 10-0 start value, but it's just not ready. It's still early in the season, and we're going to see a lot more later.
A 9.8 for Mariano Kalusi-Palayath, and now Shireen Kamadust, sophomore out of Bountiful, Utah. He has been second in the vault lineup the first 2 meets. On bars, carded the season-high 9.85 in her home state meet at Utah back on January the 23rd. Then second in the bars lineup for Oregon State in every meet.
Working on staying strong, pushing, making sure pressure's on the bar and every single handstand. Again, another double layout, great landing. Working on a little bit of form throughout the routine. I saw a little bit of deductions there. Gearing up for her dismount. Nice height when she releases the bar. A little bit of knee bend there, but spots the landing for an excellent finish.
And her teammates celebrate. 9.85 for Sonia Miraz, and there's Janae Honest, who will be on vault for the UCLA Bruins. Best finish was a tie for 3rd at home against Alabama in the opening meet of the year. A season-high 9.8.
She's one of those athletes that always seems to be improving. I would definitely classify her as most improved from last year. Huge Yurchenko full. And again, stuck landing from Janae Honest.
We're going to have a stick rally, Sam.
That is exactly what they set out to do here tonight. I know they've been working a lot on their landing, specifically on this event, and it seems to be paying off here tonight.
Solid for Janae Honest, the sophomore from Visalia, California.
Misses the block a little bit, but still seems to find the landing. She's one of those athletes, like I mentioned, and I think is only going to get better as she ages.
Shireen Kamadust to 9.85, and now Sylvia Kalusi-Palayath, the junior from Oakville, Ontario. One of 4 Canadians, including her sister Mariana, on the Beavers roster.
Little shy on her release move. Bail should be the handstand. Clean form. Lots of double layouts here for the Oregon State bar lineup. Small hop on the landing, but with their lineup being as short and as small as it is tonight, they really need to hit every routine tonight.
And Sylvia, who had fallen twice on bars in 4 competitions this year after hitting all 7 routines last year, celebrating with head coach Tanya Chaplin. 9.9 for Janae Honest. Here's Angie Cipra. We'll see her later on the floor exercise as well. Remember, she had the 9.975 to help clinch that meet against Utah a week ago today. She has been 3rd in the vault lineup in every meet. Best finish was 2nd, the opening meet of the year at home against Alabama, a 9.85.
Such a powerful athlete. She explodes off the table. Lots and lots of amplitude with her vault. Small hop on the landing, but extremely clean throughout. Great back handspring entry, strong block. Opens up to find the landing and just had a little bit too much power to stick the landing.
Angie Cipra, the junior out of Mesa, Arizona. Get her score in a moment. Sylvia Kalusi-Palayath had a 9.8. Here's Maddie Gardner, the great all-arounder for Oregon State. 3-time first-team All-American. Beamed twice last year. The all-around in 2014.
She's really the stud for their team right now, competing all around in every single meet so far, which is extremely difficult and taxing on your body.
The bars, not her strongest event. It's the only apparatus where she doesn't have a collegiate win. Struggled on Monday at Washington. She over-rotated on a handstand, but she had a solid routine there.
A little bit simpler of a dismount than her teammates did. Double tuck, spots the landing, small hop.
When she fell on Monday, it was just the third time she'd fallen in 107 career routines. 9.825 for Angie Cipra. Here is Madison Preston, a freshman from Loveland, Ohio. Career and season high 9.85 on vault last week at home against Utah to finish tied for second. She anchored the vault the first two meets. She's been fourth or fifth since.
Huge Yurchenko full. I really like how she extends her body in the air, really opens it up for a flared Yurchenko layout full.
It's your level 10 national vault champion from a couple of years ago.
Great strong block, huge. She waits before she twists, and it really pays off seeing how high she can get off the table.
9.85 for Maddie Gardner after falling off the bars on Monday, so a good score for her. Here's Mary Jacobson. Won her first ever collegiate event 5 days ago at Washington, scoring a career and season high 9.825 on bars. Really coming out of her shell. Head coach Tanya Chaplin says Mary Jacobson does not know how good she is.
Huge Tkachev release combination here. Very dynamic bar worker. Will be over before you know it. Lots of power, over-rotates it a little bit. Step on the landing, but that's her only major deduction for that bar routine. She's really been stepping up for this Oregon State team. Getting lots of experience only as a freshman. There you see lots of power, opens up a little bit too late for the step on the landing.
5 days after a win on bars. 9.9 for Maddie Preston. And here's the anchor for the vault lineup for the Bruins, Sidika Bynum. Best finish this year was a second at a season high 9.875 at Arizona 3 weeks ago. 4 straight vault scores of 9.8 or better since the season opening 9.7 against Alabama.
She has the only 10-0 start value for the Bruins tonight. Performing an Arabian layout off the table. Small hop on the landing, but great start for UCLA on vault.
10-0 start value because of that blind landing. Sidika Bynum, solid start for the UCLA Bruins.
See the strong entry. She opens it up, spots the landing, and salutes very quickly at the end. Only a small step right there for a deduction.
Going to chat with Coach Randy Lane. A 9.8 for Mary Jacobson. And our final gymnast in the first rotation, Katiana McMillan. Coming off ACL injury and won bars in her first effort this year in week 2 at Lindenwood with a season high 9.875.
She's a beautiful gymnast and someone that can really help Oregon State, not just on bars, but on every other event this season. Very precise in those handstands. Wow. Textbook double layout right there. She opens, flares the flip, spots the landing. Beautiful.
Katiana McMillan sticks her routine on bars. 1 rotation down, 3 to go from here at Poly Pavilion in Westwood. UCLA and Oregon State. We'll get to the scores in a moment. UCLA leading by 1/4 point, 49.35 in their vault rotation, and for Oregon State, 49.1 on bars. Solid scores for both teams. And UCLA featured a couple of 9.9s in that first rotation on vault. And Maddie Preston was one of them.
She has a strong entry, huge Yurchenko layout full. Maddie Preston's vault, she has enough time to extend and flare before she lands. Katiana McMillan
Katiana had a 9.925 to wrap up the Oregon State bars lineup.
The most impressive thing about her bar routine, though, is this dismount. She gets so high in the air and, again, flares before the landing to stick it for a textbook double layout dismount.
Oh, Katiana McMillan. There's Maddie Gardner, who will be doing the all-around for the 11th consecutive meet for Oregon State tonight. And coming up in rotation 2, the Oregon State's chance to gain some ground. They're ranked 14th in the nation on vault. UCLA ranked 15th in the country on bars. A lead early on for UCLA, back with the second rotation coming up. There's the Oregon State vault lineup. They're ranked 14th in the country without a couple of people they expected to be in their lineup. Senior Erica Offiero, a couple of titles on vault in her career, along with 13 on beam, out for the entire season. Budding sophomore star Danny DeSaints is out, so McKenna Singley, a freshman. Here she goes.
Starting off Oregon State on vault. Clean Yurchenko full again, starting from a 9.95. When we spoke to head coach Tanya Chaplin at the beginning of the season, she said their goal on vault is just to clean everything up. The form, the landings, all of it.
Bruin bars lined up. Danusha Francis doing the all-around for the first time in her career. Allie Mosette injured on bars about an hour before the meet, warming up, so they had to shake things up. Danusha leading matters off here. On bars, her best finish this year, second at Cal a couple of weeks ago with a season-high 9.85. Has 9.825s in all 4 other meets.
She's been the leadoff on this event since her freshman year, and it really gives the team a sense of calm, and you'll see why. It's not the most difficult routine, but it's always the same. Very clean, very solid, starts the whole team off on such a positive note.
Nothing wrong with consistency, huh?
Not at all.
Don't have to be flashy. Danusha, great story, love her accent, from Kenilworth, England. McKenna Singley, a 9.775. And there's Mary Jacobson, the freshman from Puyallup, Washington. Had a 9.8 on bars. And here she is, led off the Beavers vault lineup each meet until the last time out.
She's doing a Kazumatsu. They're only 10.0 start value in their vault lineup. Lots of power, couldn't quite control it on the landing. See there, the entry is a little bit different than the back handspring we were seeing before. Spots the landing, but just a little bit too late. Had to pike down a little bit, causing her to take a small hop backwards. Again, she's only a freshman, so she's still learning how to compete, how to control her landings when she has such adrenaline from these big crowds.
Speaking of still learning, after the 9.85 by Danusha Francis, Rochelle Dennis will have her first ever competitive college routine. The sophomore from Dix Hills, New York, 5-time Junior Olympics National Championships qualifier. In 2012, she was 7th on bars. 4 exhibitions this year, including a 9.8 at Cal 2 weeks ago. Her first competitive collegiate routine.
She's improved so much since last year and really deserved this spot. Although, you know, unfortunate that Hallie's unable to compete, Rochelle is such a great candidate to step up and make her first ever collegiate routine for UCLA.
Bruins celebrating Rochelle Dennis, the sophomore from Dix Hills, New York. Little
Great
step on the landing.
Giant full into, you know, again, simple double tuck. She spots the landing, almost buckles at her knees there, but she hits her first routine, and sometimes you just need to get the cobwebs out for your next routine. In
place of Hallie Mosette, out with a bruised sternum. That's what they're saying right now. Mary Jacobson, a 9.825. And Taylor Ritchie, now a junior, has added more responsibility each year. Career high 9.85 on vault. Season high 9.8 in the opener against Auburn.
Lots of height in her Yurchenko full. Hop back on the landing. It looks like she didn't quite spot early enough. Back handspring entry. She blocks off the table, opens up, And I think she didn't realize how much power she had in the air, working on cleaning it up from head coach Tanya Chaplin.
Taylor Ritchie typically goes second on vault. Sonia Miraz had a 9.85 on vault. Her career high 9.85 on bars, and her best finish this season a 9.8 when she tied for 7th at Arizona 3 weeks ago, and then she matched that 9.8 last week at home against Utah.
She has been a rock for this bar lineup in the past. Very consistent. Although she had a little mistake earlier in the season, she's been working so hard in the gym. One of those athletes that flies under the radar, gets in the gym, works hard, and you can see it pays off in competitions.
For dismount.
Double layout, spots the ground. Very, very small hop on the landing, but great set for Sonia Miraz.
Sonia Miraz won the all-around in her first attempt a year and 4 days ago against Washington. Has not competed in the all-around this year. Caitlin Ohashi, the only one who has. She's out with an injury. 9.825 for Taylor Ritchie, and you're looking at Shireen Kamadust, who had a 9.85 on bars. Here on vault, was second in the lineup the first 2 meets, has been 4th in the lineup ever since. Becoming more confident as a sophomore.
Ooh. She was supposed to do a Yurchenko layout full, ended up doing just a Yurchenko tuck. Her heels hit the yellow so far back, had so much power that she couldn't quite get the right block to do her twist.
When is that change made? If she's supposed to do one and she does the other, at what point does she make that decision?
When she hits contact with the table, it looked like she was deciding whether to twist or not, and she decided early enough not to, which is a safer option, but you know, that does put a lot more pressure on the rest of the vault lineup because they're definitely going to want to drop her score.
It's a 9.85 for Sonia Miraz, and now Melissa Metcalf.
This is her first competitive season for UCLA, and she's one of those athletes that just has a natural swing for this event. You can tell she works the bars almost like she's floating on it. A little shy on that handstand there. Had to muscle it up. Spots the landing. Very clean on the landing. Moved 1 foot. Other than the handstand deduction, it's a very clean routine.
Career high 9.85 at Florida back on January the 15th.
Spots the landing. Was a little unsure, had to move that left foot. It's the associate head coach, Chris Waller, giving her a little coaching, if you will.
And why not? A 9.225 for Shireen Kamadust, so they want to put a red line through that one as Megan Jimenez lines up for her vault. Season high 9.85, she's done that twice. Guarded 9.8s last year at the Pac-12 Championships and the NCAA Regional in Norman, Oklahoma.
Lots of power, big step back. Look how far away she is from the vault table. She gets lots of distance in her Yurchenko layout full. Twist a little bit early, focusing on cleaning up that landing and opening up her layout position.
And pressure on the Beavers after the 9.225 from Kamadust. And now back to the bars. Low score so far, the 9.725 in the first ever competitive routine for Rochelle Dennis. Melissa Metcalf had a 9.825. Here is Janae Honest, who had a 9.9 on the vaults. A new career high for her. And here she is on bars. Scored her first win with a career high 9.875 on bars 2 weeks ago at Cal.
Usually very strong in her cast handstands. Getting all the way to vertical. Huge Tkachev release move right there. Extremely coachable, especially on this event. moving down towards the end of lineup.
Here she comes, Janae Honest.
Full twisting, double back, small hop on the landing. Here's her Tkachev release move, and it's huge above the bar. She really flies.
Look at that air.
It's almost like she pauses in the air for a second before catching it again.
9.75 for Megan Jimenez, and now Maddie Gardner anchoring the vault for Oregon State. Need a good one out of her.
Back on the table, but finds the landing. Great landing. It seems like everyone on the Oregon State's vault lineup was a little bit far back on the board.
Maddie Gardner, a pair of vault wins this year, including last Monday at Washington with a 9.85. They'll be able to drop Shireen Kamadou's 9.225.
And that's what teammates are for, picking you up when you might have a little bit of a mistake.
9.825 for Janae Honest, and there is the star of the show as far as many of the fans are concerned, Safina De Jesus. She's not going to term it that way, to be sure. But Safina De Jesus, the internet sensation, and here she is on bars. Her best finish this year on this apparatus is second with the season high 9.925, the second meet of the year at Florida, and it's a miss for Safina De Jesus. In her first routine, after all this hype, she suffers a fall.
Looks like she missed her hand right there on the bars. Was spotting the high bar, couldn't quite make it. Very uncharacteristic for her. She's gonna start her bar routine over again.
Been getting celebrity attention, among others, Jamie Foxx, Ludacris, Ashton Kutcher posted notes about her routine on social media. She seemed unfazed by all the attention generated by her hip-hop floor routine and the 27 million views over the past 7 days. Does that play any part into what just happened?
You know, I'm not sure. There's been lots of buzz, lots of excitement, like you mentioned. People have her picture blown up right next to her competing on bars. And, you know, maybe did phase her a little bit. Coming into the meet, she said she was a little bit nervous, but that her mom gave her a great pep talk, and she was, you know, more excited than anything to compete here tonight. That's not the start she wanted to have, but hopefully she can finish off this bar routine strong.
So Rochelle Dennis's score is going to count. They won't be able to cross that one out after the fall. Yep. There they are, the fans of Safina De Jesus. There's a bunch of those in the crowd tonight. We're 2 rotations in, and we have 2 to go. We'll move to the beam and the floor. A hug from head coach Valerie Condos Field. Back after this. 98-425 for UCLA through 2 rotations. 98-2 for Oregon State. UCLA had the fall from Safina De Jesus, so they didn't count that one. Back here at Pauley Pavilion, we're getting set for the 3rd rotation, as the Oregon State Beavers are going to be on floor. The UCLA Bruins will be on beam. So let's have a look at Taylor Ritchie on vaults for Oregon State.
Yurchenko layout full. Little hop on the landing. Nice form throughout.
And here's Danusha Francis on bars.
Extremely solid and consistent, especially in the first place for UCLA Bruin in their lineup. Great cast to handstands. And although it was a little bit weak of a bar rotation for UCLA, Danusha Francis was able to start off strong.
Man, she had a 9.85 with that bars routine. So Oregon State trailing UCLA right now with 2 rotations to go. And we've got the drama and the danger of the balance beam, the beauty, the power, the elegance of the floor exercise. And it is coming up from here in Los Angeles. The UCLA Bruins and the Oregon State Beavers Pac-12 gymnastics here on the Pac-12 Network. We're halfway through and a .225 lead for UCLA. Rich Burke, along with reigning NCAA all-around champion Samantha Peshek, a U.S. Olympian and silver medal winner back in 2008. And Samantha, a .225 lead for UCLA. Oregon State coming up, where UCLA has to go on the beam, where they're not the strongest. A chance for them to gain some ground?
Definitely. Beam is known as the make or break event, and it's crucial. 225 is not that big of a lead for UCLA. Anything can happen still in this competition. The Bruins are going to want to go and hit a great solid beam rotation followed by floor, and you know, Oregon State is going to try doing this exact same thing.
UCLA in fact ranked 8th in the nation on beam, average score 49.045. They had problems on beam against Cal a couple of weeks ago. Angie Sipra, Ping Ping Lee both fell. Only time they counted a fall all season long. Michaela Gerber will start it off on beam for UCLA. Member of the Canadian national team at the 2011 Worlds when Canada placed 11th. Best finish was a tie for second at Cal 2 weeks ago.
She's a great lead-off competitor for UCLA on this event. The most confident gymnast on the team. That's who you want going first in your beam lineup. It's a very crucial role.
And a little bit of showmanship there as well from Michaela.
We're going to see a lot of that from the UCLA girls here on beam.
Little balance check. Michaela Gerber, a childhood friend of Maddie Gardner of the Oregon State Beavers. They went to the same high school together. Cambridge, Ontario, Canada.
She's one of those athletes that is always ready, whether it's on beam, on floor. She is ready to go up. She's eager to compete for the team. Great team player.
Trying to set the tone for UCLA. Michaela Gerber lining up for a dismount, and she nails it.
Great start up routine from Michaela. I know the Bruins are going to want to build from here on out.
There's the Oregon State floor lineup. Mary Jacobson will start it off. 9.825 on vault after the 9.8 on bars. Her head coach, Tanya Chaplin, says Mary doesn't know how good she is. In the past, she's been unsure of herself, and to watch her confidence grow has been special.
Strong double pike to start off the routine. Like we mentioned earlier, although she's a freshman, she's been stepping up. Not that she has much of a choice.
Career and season high 9.75 at Washington. That was 5 days ago. Her second tumbling pass.
1.5 layout. Misses the punch a little bit for her second salto. Is able to save it there at the end.
Anchored Oregon State's floor exercise. Back-to-back meets prior to leading off 5 days ago. And here she is leading off again. Final tumbling pass for Mary Jacobson.
2.5 twist. Step sideways a little bit to finish. Was able to save it. Great start for Oregon State on floor.
An appreciative round of applause from the crowd here at Poly Pavilion for the freshman Mary Jacobson of Oregon State. Look at her second tumbling pass.
She's doing a combination pass here. 1.5, misses the punch a little bit. See how long the front layout was, but able to save it. That shows that she's an extremely strong gymnast to come out of that.
9.825 for Michaela Gerber to start it off on beam for the Bruins. And there's Sonia Miraz, who had a 9.85 on vault and a 9.85 on bars.
I spoke to Danusha Francis earlier in the week about Sonia, and she had no other words besides the hardest worker. The UCLA lineups are not easy to break into. Sonia has fought her way into every single lineup.
Wow.
Seeing her in all around tonight.
Better be a hard worker. She's a biochem major who wants to be a doctor.
Extremely disciplined, like you mentioned, in everything that she does.
She is a perfect 15 for 15 in her career on beam, 10 times scoring 9.8 or higher. Best finish this year was a tie for second at Arizona 3 weeks ago, a career high tying
9.85. 1.5 dismount. Little step on the landing, but that looked like her biggest deduction for her team. Very, very solid for Sonia.
Trying to follow up on a pair of 9.85s on vault and bars, Sonia Miraz. We go back to the floor for Taylor Ritchie. After the 9.75 by Mary Jacobson, Taylor Ritchie, the junior, also from Canada, the only one from the western side of the country, North Vancouver, BC. She had a 9.825 on vault. Now a junior, she's added more responsibility each year. She came in as a freshman and grew 6 inches her freshman year to a present 5'3", and had to relearn everything.
Wow, that is incredible. I can't imagine growing that much in college. You have to relearn all of your skills. The technique, the timing of all your skills is off, and so to see her competing the way she is tonight is huge.
Nice for Taylor Ritchie, great work ethic, always in the weight room doing extra things, great leader on the team. Good listener, comes up with solutions for her teammates.
You know, the Oregon State roster is a little slim this year due to some injuries. They were not dealt a great hand this season, but girls like this are the ones that are stepping up, fighting to do what they set out to do. Just want to improve and keep staying consistent, as Tanya Chaplin says. Oh,
Taylor Ritchie.
1.5 to a front tuck. Again, couldn't quite get the punch and had to sit it down.
That is the first miss of her career. She had hit on all 19 previous routines with Oregon State and had been 11 for 11 this year coming into tonight.
Puts the pressure on the rest of the Oregon State floor lineup to hit their routines. They're going to want to drop her score.
A 9.85 for Sonia Miraz. And now Nikki Shapiro making her collegiate debut. The freshman from right here in Los Angeles has performed 3 exhibition beam routines this year, all between 9.65 and 9.725. And she's in place of Caitlin Ohashi, the freshman all-arounder who's out with a fractured sternum, and they hope to have her back soon. This is Nikki's favorite apparatus, as it was yours, Sam.
Yes, I loved beam.
You made friends with it. That's a tough thing for a gymnast to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and competing here in Poly Pavilion on beam makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit easier.
Very deftly done for Nikki Shapiro.
I first met Nikki when she was 10 years old, and I remember thinking then that she was the most talented gymnast that I had ever met. Older sister graduated and was on the Stanford gymnastics team. Also an amazing and beautiful gymnast, especially on beam.
That's Samantha Shapiro, All-American at Stanford, 5-time U.S. national team member. And here's her sister, Nikki, in her first ever collegiate routine.
Side aerial, layout full, sticks the landing. And let me tell you, it feels great to hit your first ever competitive routine. Hopefully, Nikki and Rochelle Dennis can go celebrate their collegiate debuts as a Bruin here tonight.
That is great. You know, she wants to be a sports psychologist. This is such a mental sport, and she really handled that well. 9-2 for Taylor Ritchie after her first career miss in more than 20 routines. Remember, 6 compete, 5 score. You can drop the lowest, so they'll be looking to drop Taylor Ritchie. Here's Risa Perez. The floor routine, gymnastics meets flamenco dancing with a full measure of showmanship and a dash of bravado. She is fun to watch, Risa Perez.
If you haven't seen this routine, you're going to be in for a treat.
She's choreographed her own floor routine since level 8, and she currently advises some of her teammates.
She's so much fun to watch, and interestingly enough, she says that her favorite arena, other than Gill Coliseum, obviously, her favorite arenas to compete floor in are UCLA and Utah because there are so many people in the stands.
And that's why she loves this year's schedule, because the Beavers go to both those places.
We might have another viral floor routine on our hands if we're not careful.
Wow. Risa saw a Cirque du Soleil show at age 10 and set a goal to be a Cirque performer. She finishes her routine with a nod to the Oregon State football team and a couple of yanks of a third down chainsaw. Watch for it after this final tumbling pass.
One and a half, a little shy on her front layout full, able to save the landing. The whole crowd is into her routine. All eyes are on Risa Perez.
Risa Perez, not sure how good the score is, but she sure is fun to watch.
Front handspring, layout full, a little shy on the twist there. Able to cover it up with a great Shishinova. You know, if nothing else, it really energizes not only her team, but the crowd, just like Sofina De Jesus.
How about Nikki Shapiro in her first collegiate routine, a 9-9 on beam? I'll say that's her favorite apparatus. And
wow.
Now, Sofina De Jesus coming off a week where she was the center of attention, 27 million hits, and a fall in her first effort after that on bars. Here she is on beam. How tough is it, Sam, to come back after that fall and collect yourself?
This is going to be a big test for her. Beam is typically one of her easier events to compete. She really enjoys it, but of course, after a fall like that, it could get in your head. She really needs to stay in the moment, stay calm, and do what she does best. Looks like she's handling it beautifully.
Are you holding your breath?
Just a little bit.
I am. We all want her to do well after the fall on bars. At her best in big moments. She tied her career high with a 9-9 last year on beam at the NCAA regionals.
But especially as a senior in college, you know, you've had mistakes in competitions, you've fallen in meets before. You should know how to handle the pressure, even though it's not necessarily the most fun thing to do.
Yeah, if you get to this level, you know how to do it. We saw the moonwalk, now the dismount.
Great stick in the landing. Way to recover after that bar routine. It's great to know she can brush off a mistake like that and come back even stronger. And like I said earlier, the beam lineup is going to continue to build for UCLA, just as the floor lineup is going to continue to build for Oregon State.
9-8-2-5. for Risa Perez. Here's Jamie Roddermaker doing her routine with a heavy heart. A week ago today, her 52-year-old mother, Jane, died unexpectedly at her home in Brainerd, Minnesota. 2 days later, Jamie carved the 9-8 at Washington. Then she flew back to Minnesota. The services were on Thursday. She rejoined her team here yesterday. Never practiced. Last time she was on the floor was Monday.
Starting off with an extremely difficult combination, most difficult in the meet here tonight. Front handspring, double twisting front, punch front, lots of power. She's so fun to watch on this event, and you know, especially after the week that she's had, extremely brave to come out here. I know that she's inspired a bunch of the UCLA girls. I was talking to them earlier in the week as well.
And she got a nice round of applause from the crowd here at Pauley Pavilion.
Clean 2.5 twist. Oregon State sad that she is a senior because she is so fierce on this event.
One more pass for Jamie Roddermaker. Only time we'll see her tonight.
Handspring, front layout full, punch front, nails it. Extremely solid and clean routine from Jamie. I know her teammates are so proud of her.
Jamie Roddermaker, 2 days after her 52-year-old mother's funeral, puts together a great floor routine.
You know, she's looking down and clapping and so proud of her tonight.
I believe that.
But at least she's able to be here with her Oregon State gymnastics family. And if anyone knows anything about athletics, your team becomes your family.
And look at Sofina de Jesus, 9.975. That means she got a 10 from one judge and a 9.5 from the other. Here's Christine Ping Ping Lee, redshirt junior from Canada. Canada's top gymnast in 2011 and 2012. A knee injury kept her out of the London Olympics.
She was doing a hands-free beam routine because of a wrist injury. Recently put the Homa flares you're seeing right now back into her beam routine.
Leah Homa, outstanding gymnast with UCLA's first national championship team in 1997. In spite of doing the hands-free routine, she got a win in the season opener at home against Alabama on January 10th. A 9.95, and Ping Ping with a miss.
Really crooked on her back handspring, couldn't really pull it on. She recently switched her series back from an side aerial back layout step out that was giving her trouble at the beginning of the season.
She has fallen now on the beam 3 times in her last 5 events.
This is extremely unusual for Ping. Just doing a simple layout. I think she tweaked her knee a little bit on the landing there.
Her knee swelled up last week after her vault.
Her hands are a little crooked. See her feet on the left side of the beam. Couldn't quite get her heels on to save the series.
Head coach Valerie Condos Field looking on.
Extremely talented gymnast, but you know, her nemesis has always been to stay healthy. And that's what she's gonna work on for the rest of the season.
A 9.85 for Jamie Roddermaker. Now the all-arounder Maddie Gardner. Maddie at 9.8 on vault, 9.85 on bars. 3 career wins on floor, but none this year. A season high 9.875. She's done it twice at Lindenwood, that's in Missouri, and at Utah.
Two and a half twist. Little side step, but very clean in the air. All of her tumbling, her legs are glued together. Just like teammate Jamie Rodemaker, which I know that I'm not a judge, but I think it was a little underscored there.
Rodemaker got a 9.85.
Ending with a big straddle jump that gets her an extra 10th bonus and sometimes takes away a little bit of deductions on the landings.
This will be the 21st time in her career Maddie has performed the all-around, including 11 in a row. Number 21 in the nation in the all-around.
Oregon State's relying on her to be the rock this season. She's going to continue doing all-around indefinitely. Little shy on her double pike.
Solid for Maddie Gardner, the junior out of Cambridge, Ontario.
Not her best routine, but, you know, she's been competing all around for so many weeks in a row now. Take a look at her first pass. 2.5 twists. Little side step there.
Her teammates enjoyed that. 8.875 for Ping Ping, so they need Danusha Francis to come through to drop that score. Danusha, an English major who wants to be on TV, and she's the current host of Bruin Banter, taking over for my broadcast partner, Samantha Pescic. You did that, what, for 3 years?
Yes, yes, I was happy to pass the torch on to Danusha Francis.
Weekly show at UCLABruins.com.
It's extremely entertaining if you have not checked it out already.
Danusha, number 4 in the nation on beam. She had been number 1 for 4 straight weeks prior to this week, but Carter the 9.825 last week against Utah. She had a couple of uncharacteristic wobbles in that routine.
She's remarkable on this event, loves to play up the crowd. She said she likes to look at the audience during her beam routine just to make sure they're enjoying her dance just as much as she's hoping they're enjoying her skills.
Excellent at connecting with the audience. She had a perfect 10 on beam 2 years ago, March.
She's an athlete that really understands how to work beam. Crooked or straight, she always seems to be able to work out of her skills.
The senior doing the all-around for the first time in her career tonight.
Of course, one of the most difficult dismounts in NCAA. Sideways aerial into a back layout full, sticks the landing.
Had problems with that connection a week ago against Utah, but she nailed it there.
Wow, what a performance for Danusha Francis. One of the best dismounts I've seen from her all season. Spots the landing.
Boom. Valerie Condos Field loved it.
And to hit a routine like that after a mistake just shows that she's getting ready for the postseason, where anything can happen and you need to hit your routine no matter what.
And Katie-Anna McMillan needs to hit hers so they can put that line through Taylor Ritchie's 9.2, 9.775. Modest score for Maddie Gardner. Here's Katie-Anna, who had a 9.925 on bars.
We didn't know if we would be seeing her in the floor lineup tonight. She's still recovering from a knee injury.
First time she's been on floor this year. She has 1 career win in this event.
Nice front handspring double full, very clean on the landing.
Blew out her ACL 10 months ago. Began the year returning from the injury, competing only on beam. Then returned to bars in week 2. Now in week 6 to floor.
I can't believe she's already competing floor again. That is
amazing.
Extremely fast.
It's a punishing sport. It's a contact sport. Don't let the elegance and the beauty fool you.
And the thing with floor, it's not just the skills, but the endurance you need to have. So her last tumbling pass is going to be crucial for her. I know she's going to want to take a big breath before she goes. Nails. Front handspring layout full. A solid routine. They needed that, so they didn't have to count that full. And it's great to see her back in the lineup.
Her first time on floor this year, Katiana McMillan, the junior from Coburg, Oregon. Career high in that discipline, 9.925. Our third rotation is over, and if we got a treat for you coming up, the UCLA Bruins, including Sofina De Jesus, on the floor. What will she do for an encore? That'll be in our fourth rotation. One spot of the fall from Ping Ping Lee, UCLA with a 49.5 on beam. To Oregon State's 49.075, so the Bruins opening up the lead now. Danusia Francis on beam, put together a solid routine.
She's always nearly perfect, especially after coming back from a mistake from her teammate. Lots of pressure on her to hit this beam routine when it counted, but you know, she knows how to handle the pressure and puts an exclamation point at the end of her beam routine with this amazing dismount. Best one I've seen all season, sticks the landing. Great routine from Danusia Francis, and they're off to their best event.
Double low 5 from Jordan Weber after that. Now Katiana McMillan, who anchored the floor routine for Oregon State.
More exciting than her, a great floor routine, is just to see her back in the lineup and for Oregon State to know they can rely on her from here on out. Not only was she clean on our tumbling passes, but all of her landings were solid as well. Last pass, Rudy right there. And her teammates were just as excited as she was for that solid hit landing.
A 9.875 for Katiana McMillan after her 9.925 on vault won that event earlier. We've got more coming up, including the UCLA floor routine with Sofina De Jesus. We'll be back after this. Well, UCLA has opened up a .650 lead over Oregon State with one rotation to go after their 49.5 on beam. Busy weekend across the nation in gymnastics. Florida had last week lost at Oklahoma, and so they flip-flop spots. Florida knocked off Arkansas. Oklahoma with a dominant win and a quad meet over Denver, George Washington, and Utah State. And Auburn winning over Alabama by a quarter of a tenth. Number 8 beating number 4. Earlier today, a couple of Pac-12 meets. You see Georgia beat LSU. An upset as number 11 beat number 5. And Utah, as expected, beat Washington. And Stanford with a win at Arizona. 25 consecutive times Stanford has beaten Arizona. We got more gymnastics coming up on Monday. It's the meet of the week as Arizona State looks to take down Tony Ann Williams and number 19 Cal. Coverage Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Mountain on Pac-12 Network, or watch on Pac-12 Now at pac-12.com. The Oregon State Beavers, Megan Jimenez, will start off on beam. Her confidence might be reeling. She had hit 30 straight routines to begin her career. Then 3 weeks ago, fell off the beam at Utah. Then last week, she fell on both her beam and floor routines. A 9.75 on vault in her only appearance so far tonight. Again, Samantha, after you struggle, how do you collect yourself and redo it a week later?
I think that's the toughest part about our sport, is the mental aspect and understanding how to stay in the moment and focus on exactly which skill you're doing at that time. And I know that sounds so simple and so easy, but you'd be surprised how cloudy your head can get, especially an event like beam.
Jimenez, a junior from Temecula, California, not far from here. She's got friends and family watching her.
More important than making this routine as perfect as she can, they really need her to hit to set the tone for the team. Oregon State has the chance to get a great team score at this away meet.
Lining up for a dismount. Solid for Megan Jimenez. 2 weeks ago had her career in season high 9-8 at home against Arizona State.
Exactly what Oregon State needed for their beam lineup to start off with.
Sonia Miraz, along with Danusha Francis, doing the all-around tonight for UCLA. Remember, Hallie Mozette was supposed to be on floor, but she fell prior to the meet on bars. And initial diagnosis was a bruise on her sternum. Already have one gymnast out with a sternum injury, Caitlin Ohashi. A lot of air for Sonia.
Almost out of bounds there, lots of power. Saved it there. You know, and this is the event that the fans come to watch. UCLA on floor.
And it's going to get even more intense as we go along here and head towards Sofina de Jesus, Maddie Preston, Angie Cipra, and Sadiqa Bynum.
Nice triple salto combination pass for Sonia. And you know, her weakness has been not performing her dance, not performing her routine as much as head coach Valerie Condos-Field would like her to. And this routine is great for her. It really opens her up. She's able to perform it to the audience.
Val, of course, a choreographer by trade. Career high 9-9, season high 9-8.
Nice stuck landing for Sonia. Great way to finish the meet for her. Awesome all-around competition.
3 straight 9.85s in her first 3 events. And maybe another one there, huh?
Definitely.
Sonia Miraz doing the all-around for the 4th time in her career and the first time this year. Megan Jimenez had a 9.8 for Oregon State. Now here's Mariana Calusi-Pelayath. Posted a career in season high 9.775 to win on the beam 5 days ago at Washington in her 3rd ever collegiate scoring routine.
They really struggled on beam against Utah, but the last 2 meets, beam has been their strongest event. When I was speaking with head coach Tanya Chaplin earlier, I asked what she was doing differently, and she said they would actually go back to beam at the end of their practice, have 30 seconds, and have to compete a routine. So essentially they were doing it twice, which really helped build their confidence going into the next 2 meets and hopefully this meet here tonight.
Really been working on their mental choreography. They do some distraction routines in practice where they bang bells and they have girls yell at their teammates. Sometimes they're under the beam.
That sounds normal. I know, I remember doing lots of that kind of mental training, and as silly as it sounds, it really helps. They were able to go 2 for 2, a little shy on that dismount there, had to pike down a little bit.
Another look at the dismount for Mariana.
Great side aerial, doesn't quite get her chest up enough on the set, had to pike it down. I think she was going for that stick. Sometimes if you try too hard to stick, something like that might happen where you're too far forward.
And now Maddie Preston after the 9.85 for Sonia Miraz. Maddie Preston, your freshman of the week. And what does she do? Getting tabbed with that. She had a 9.9 on vault.
I asked her to describe her floor routine to me, and the only word that came to her mind was creepy. My floor routine is really creepy.
Well, let's watch and see exactly what Maddie means.
cat-like. She's able to find the landing no matter how high she gets in the air. Great characteristic for a gymnast.
Is that part of the creepiness there? She opened eyes with a 9.925 last week against Utah at a time when UCLA needed it, trying to come from behind for a win. Maddie Preston, Angie Cipra, Safina De Jesus, and Sadiqa Bynum all came through. Ah, here's what she was talking about. Final pass for the freshman from Loveland, Ohio, Maddie Preston.
Spot the landing. Lots of power. Big step back. Great save.
Okay, she says it's creepy.
What do you say?
I'm going to say elegant and nicely done.
Well, I'm sure she'll take that as a compliment. Check out how high she got on her last pass. Huge setup. Didn't open up enough. Had to take a slight slide back for her landing. Could have been a pretty big deduction, but, you know, she only made it a small deduction there.
9.75 for Mariana, and now her sister Sylvia Calusi-Palayath. Sylvia came to gymnastics late. First time she stepped into a gym, she was 7 years old. And only then, after a gym coach spotted her at a friend's birthday party, the coach asked if she and her sister did gymnastics. They said no. Didn't know what he was talking about. Coach said, wow, these kids would be good. A couple of weeks later, she and Mariana were enrolled in a beginning rec class. And here she is.
I'm sure her parents didn't know what they were getting into at the time. Very crooked there, able to save it from a fall. Remember, a fall is 5/10 of a deduction.
Would that be a 10th or 2 with that balance check?
Yeah, definitely a 10th or 2, but, you know, anything's better than 5/10 when actually coming off the beam.
Monday at Washington matched her career high of 9.85, set last year at Stanford.
Another side aerial layup, full dismount. Great spot for the landing, able to stick it there. Hoping the judges are going to take less of a deduction for her wobble on her series.
We're getting closer and closer to Safina De Jesus' encore on floor. She'll be up after Danusha Francis. Maddie Preston a 9.825. And now Danusha, who had a 9.775 on vault, 9.85 on bars, 9.95 on beam. She's gotten better as she's gone along. Now on floor. A tough finish this year, a tie for second at Cal 2 weeks ago. Season high, 9.875.
This week, she hasn't really been Danusha Francis, but the girl in the background of the viral video of teammate Safina De Jesus.
Now getting a chance to put on a show of her own. This routine starts off slowly, and then about halfway through, she'll have a tempo change. She'll pull out the pistols in her Bond girl portion of the routine and shoot the student section here at UCLA.
She had a Bond floor routine last year, and the crowd loved it so much that she decided to keep half of her routine for her senior year as the Bond girl.
Doing all around for the first time in her career. There's one pistol, there's the other. Bang, bang. She is now hit on 52 consecutive routines.
A little bit too much power there. Wasn't as perfect of a landing as I know that she can do, but able to save the landing and still should put up a pretty good score. And you know what? The crowd still loved it.
They sure did. And how about her as a senior doing the all-around for the first time ever?
That's great. I know that she's been looking to do that and to check that off of her to-do list here as a UCLA Bruin. A little bit too much power, held onto her legs, long in the flip, causing her to take a big step back.
And the shot.
And you know what? Sofina was in the background of her video.
Gotta love the way the choreography works. And that's set up by Val Condos Field, the head coach, actually choreographing the student section. And there she goes, high-fiving the crowd.
Well, if you know head coach Valerie Condos Field, you would not put it past her to choreograph the student section for each routine, and that's what she's done. But I think they love it.
9.725 for Sylvia Calusi-Pelayo. Here's Risa Perez, who had a 9.825 on floor. She has 1 beam win in her collegiate career to go along with 3 floor titles. Her season high 9.85 2 weeks ago at home against ASU. And if you watch real closely, you might maybe get a wink. She has a flair for showmanship.
Sometimes hard to even spot her mistakes because she's able to dance right out of them. Well, no mistake there. Very strong landing out of her front aerial.
Of course, they support their team in Corvallis extremely well. One reason why she transferred to Oregon State from ASU, competing there at an NCAA regional as a freshman in 2013. She said, I got to be a part of that. Big smile from Risa. There it was.
You were looking for that one.
Mm-hmm. Major balance check.
Lost her balance there on her switch leap.
But she stayed on.
Missed her connection. Gonna do a jump combination right here to make sure she has all of her requirements for her beam routine. Sometimes she just dances and works so quickly on the beam that her body can't keep up. But always entertaining to watch. Always appreciate when someone adds a unique flair to their beam routine like Risa Perez.
Risa Perez, a senior from Las Vegas. And now we move on to Sofina de Jesus, 7 days after the hip-hop routine that was a revelation. And for whatever reason, ask Malcolm Gladwell, Danusha had a 9.875. Sofina hit the tipping point. 27 million views on Facebook. She was on the Today Show. She was on Good Morning America. After all that, she fell on bars at just a 9.4, but then a 9.975 on beam. Here's her encore. This crowd loves it.
Assistant head coach Randy Lane says that everything sparkles to Sofina de Jesus. She has sparkly eyeliner and sparkly clothes and everything.
Her teammates in the background.
Sparkles, including her dance moves here.
And her personality does as well.
And if you're watching, you're gonna wanna find the whip, the nae-nae, the quan, and the dab. All in 1 minute and 30-second floor routine. It's incredible. So much energy in her dance that, you know, sometimes it's harder to tumble because you're so exhausted.
Final pass. You go, girl. Sofina de Jesus.
And she does it again. Great routine from Sofina. Not as perfect as her routine last week, but for her to come out here and hit another solid routine 2 weeks in a row is incredible for her.
Well, she's got it going on, doesn't she?
She has so much fun. She loves to perform ever since she's been 10 years old on the Hip Hop Harry show. I know you checked that out.
Oh, yeah, I used to watch Hip Hop Harry. She was also in a Broadway play with Debbie Allen, did commercials, and after her career is over this year, she wants to get back to acting and dancing. I'll say.
1.5 front layout, little leg separation there on that combination pass. But it's always exciting to finish in a jumping split, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'll leave that to you, Sam.
I know that you're going to go home and practice that later.
I might rip something just thinking about it. Risa Perez, a 9.575 after the wobble. They'll look to scratch that one out. Remember, 6 compete. You take your top 5 scores. Here's Katiana McMillan, coming off a win earlier on vault. And she followed it up with a 9.875 on floor.
Nice solid series. Front toss into a back handspring there.
In fact, a 9.925 on bars for Katiana.
Wow.
First time this year she has done 3 routines in one meet, coming off the ACL injury.
I know Oregon State is excited for her return, like we mentioned on floor, and she's beautiful to watch on this event as well. Great stuck landing. They're looking very consistent, especially on this beam rotation, which is what they're going to be wanting to build from this meet. Consistency, confidence, moving forward for the rest of the season.
It was solid for Katiana. A 9.9 for Safina De Jesus. That was a quarter-point off her routine from last week that gathered so much attention. Here's Angie Cipra, who had an incredible routine last week. A 9.975. It included a 10 from one judge. Second time in her career she's received a 10 from one judge. Also happened in 2014. The Pac-12 Specialist of the Week. And look for the iPhone routine that comes toward the end from Angie, and it's going to end in a busy signal.
One of my favorite routines in the UCLA floor lineup. Great extension in her leaps.
Is she calling me? Is it you?
I don't know. I was going to tell you to turn your phone off. I know everyone in the audience is looking around.
Wow.
Great combination pass.
Crowd
She
loves
flies.
How good is this?
Such an athletic gymnast.
4 years ago, won the Level 10 national title on floor. Angie Cipra, final pass.
Everyone's clapping along, wanting her to hit her last pass just like that. It's always great when you can see the judges smiling along with her and the rest of the crowd.
A 9.975 a week ago. What will it be tonight?
That was a great routine from her, and she continues to get better. And she's one of those athletes that has more difficulty and just hasn't put it in yet. Double pike, spots the landing. Great finish for Angie Cipra.
I love the acting.
It comes with it, I guess.
Way to go, Ange. Talking with Don Palangi, assistant coach who focuses on floor. They had him mic'd up for Bruin Banter this past week at UCLABruins.com.
And he's quite the tumbler himself, so he brings a lot of good advice to floor.
Of course, you can get to all the schools' websites by going to pac-12.com. Now Maddie Gardner.
Just like Danusha Francis, Maddie Gardner is a great person to anchor Oregon State on this event. She always seems so calm, cool, and collected, even though she's been competing all around for so many meets this season.
9.75 on beam for Kadiana McMillan. This is the final routine of the night for the Oregon State Beavers. Maddie Gardner on beam. A career high 9.925 a couple of weeks ago at home against Arizona State. Highest mark by a Beaver in any discipline this year. Finished third on beam at the NCAA event finals each of the last 2 years. And of course third last year to my broadcast partner tonight, Samantha Pescic. Probably the best beam worker in the room still, huh?
I don't know, it's been a while. Maddie Gardner has potential to score big on this event. Very clean series there.
Bruins, in case you're wondering, lead the meet by more than a point. They've got it wrapped up. Balance check for Maddie.
Tried to make it into a dance move there, but I think the judges might have still seen that. Great finish for her. Definitely going to count her score for Oregon State on beam. One little bobble check there, but great solid routine to finish off Oregon State on beam. Something they've been working on throughout the season.
Maddie Gardner happy with that one. And now Angie Cipra after the 9.975 a week ago, a 9.95 tonight. Nicely done. Here's Sadika Bynum. Last week at a 9.95. She is Madam Clutch. 5 weeks ago in UCLA's season opener against then number 3 Alabama. Came down to her floor exercise. She nailed it with a 9.95. Then a week ago, needed the 9.95 to beat Utah, and she got it. UCLA won by 1/4 of a tenth, the smallest possible margin.
Huge double layout to start off there.
Crowd loves it.
It's been so fun watching her mature throughout her time at UCLA, really enjoying competing. And it's great to see her become not only such a great competitor, but a leader for this UCLA team. As a personal goal, I know that she's been working so hard the past few years on consistency, especially on this event in her landings. And it looks like it's paying off. Lots of the off-season work and another great floor rotation for UCLA.
And another win for the Bruins as they knock off Oregon State. Sadika needed just an 8.6. She'll do way better than that as UCLA knocks off Oregon State. And we'll be back to talk about it some more from here at Pauley Pavilion. A hug for Dom Talangi for Sadika Bynum. UCLA with a commanding win over Oregon State tonight here at Pauley Pavilion, 197.475. That's their highest score this year, topping their 197.1 from a week ago against Utah. And Safina DeJesus with our Pure Silk Pursuit of Perfection. And on beam, she had a 9.975.
Great beam set from Sofina DeJesus, bringing her dancing abilities to this event as well. Such a performance. I love the way that she works beam. Very sharp and dynamic. Adding a little bit of flair, of course.
And this coming after she had a fall on bars,
which is something that I'm sure she will laugh at later tonight.
Yep, and that 9.975 was matched by Sadika Bynum with her meet closing floor routine. There's Sadika. You can see the pink in her hair there. It's a Think Pink meet as they raise awareness for breast cancer Big win for UCLA. Their best score after the 197-1 last week. They get the 197-4 here. And as we head toward April, those scores are building up. UCLA hopes to get into that Super 6.
Yeah, they've been doing great all season long. And you know what? I think it was a great meet for Oregon State as well. They're on the rise, understanding that they can trust a lot more girls, a lot more underclassmen in their lineups to compete consistently. And that's what they were working on here tonight, and that's what they did.
A win for the UCLA Bruins over the Oregon State Beavers on Pac-12 gymnastics. Our senior coordinating producer is Will O'Toole. For producer Alan Brum and director Mark Wolfson. For Samantha Pescick, I'm Rich Burke. Goodbye from Poly Pavilion in Westwood, where UCLA wins it over Oregon State.